Hi, this is Terry Kavanaugh, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moonlight podcast. This is episode 262. You are with your High Pressure Khonshu Ray. Hello, hello. And my gosh, we just had a big bumper week that has passed. But joining me for this new idle chat to start off the new week is Andrew, or why not sure. How you going, Andrew?
Good, Ray. Good to speak to you again, mate.
Yeah, good to have you back on, Farah. It's been a while, but I had to give you a nickname there, and I don't know. Why not? Sure.
Why not? Love it.
Anyway, Looney listeners, this is an idle chat, so you'll probably notice the format changes, waxes and wanes, so to speak. So sometimes there'll be two episodes out during the week, sometimes there'll be one, but since it's been such a long time since I've been able to speak to you, Andrew, I thought it would be great to just have a little bit of a debrief and to know where you are at with everything that's happened with Moonlight. I mean, it's been a huge week, as I said, but I'd love to get your thoughts on the trailer, the comic books, all the other merch as well coming out. So we'll get into that. As always, a big thank you to our sponsors, all the patroonies. A huge thank you to each and every one of you. It's slowly growing, and it's fantastic. It just helps the show, helps us do stuff. Might be able to bump up our StreamYard membership to more bells and whistles. That's all. So it's really great. It's very much appreciated. Also as well, Drew Tombz with his music from Tombz and LURKMUSICK. Daniel Doing with Fringe Night, CLZ Comics, and Dreamland Comics from Schaumburg, Illinois. So, Andrew, huge welcome. A long time between drinks. What have you been up to? What have you been up to lately? I mean, you've probably been as busy as hell.
Yeah, just trying to survive in this, the crazy times we live in at the moment. For me, I work in patient transport, so it's been even a little bit more nuts than probably the average person out there. We've been absolutely flat out with everything, so it's just trying to get through it all, and working hard and being flat out busy, and then coming home and being tired and not really having time for much else, unfortunately.
Oh no! But you guys got a dog, a new dog. I mean, it's probably been a while now, but yeah, how's that going?
We got her on New Year's Eve. Her name is Heidi.
Nice.
She's a Rottweiler Catahoula cross.
Wow.
Which I'd never heard of a Catahoula, but they're a North American breed. But the most striking part of her is that she has one really dark brown eye and one almost white blue eye. So she's
awesome.
Yeah, so sometimes you'll look at her and you'll go, "Oh, hang on a second." She's got this she's almost like she's looking into your soul look about her.
Yeah. I know you're also a big horror fan, so that must be playing to your your fears and terror.
Yeah, there is a bit of some Cujo flashbacks in there a little bit every now and then.
Have you always been a dog person? Is this the first dog you guys have owned, or have you grown up with a dog before? Or
always been a dog person. We did have a Kelpie that we unfortunately lost in November 2020 now. We had him for about 14 years, so it took us a little while to, so we sort of we didn't want to rush into getting another dog, and we sort of didn't want to feel like we were replacing him, but we got to a point where we sort of thought it's not replacing him, it's just helping out. Like Heidi is a rescue as well, and every dog I've ever had has been a rescue dog, so we thought, we're just helping out other dogs that kind of need that space and, need a family to look after them. So, we're always happy to help out with her. And, she's a big bullfed of a dog, but she's also an absolute sweetheart. And she'll climb up on the couch and just snuggle into you. She does weigh 36 kilos, so the snuggling does get a bit squashed after a while. But she's a sweetie, and we love her.
Has she got a distinct personality or personalities?
Yeah, oh, you could almost say that she's very sweet most of the time, but when she plays, because she's so big, I think she doesn't realize how big she actually is. So she's like, when she jumps up on you, it's almost like I've got 2 kids as well, and it's almost like one of the kids is jumping on me, that they're, with the weight behind her, and you can just feel like you play tug of war with her, and she is just a ball of muscle. Like, she is so strong.
Wow.
And it's sort of like, because I work weird shifts and stuff, I do feel a bit safer now that she's in the house when I'm not coming home from work until after midnight. So I do like that aspect of it as well. Mm.
Yeah. Does she terrorize the postman? That sort of stuff?
Not yet. She's not allowed out the front just yet, because she will. If she disappears, we live in bushland. So if she disappears, who knows where she'll go.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it sounds great. All right. I mean, like, I've seen the piggies on social media, so it looks like the fans just really enjoying her. So, I mean, listeners will know that we are on ITK are animal lovers as well. Predominantly, and this is not by design, cats have featured a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's the Egyptian bent. I don't know, Andrew, but it's just the way it goes. Speaking of Egyptian bent, Andrew, we had a huge week and a bit that's just passed. So, of course, the first thing I want to ask, the trailer. What did you think of the Moonlight trailer? Bear in mind, I'm quite wary because I don't know. There are fans out there that are quite have quite strong feelings about how their Moon Knight is meant to be depicted. But what were your thoughts on the trailer?
I was intrigued. I kind of like some of the things they're doing with it. But for me, I'm not a big, like, I watched the trailer, but I'm not usually a trailer person. I try and stick, because these days the trailers spoil so many things. Like, we went and saw the new Ghostbusters movie the other today with the family, and like, the part with the mini little marshmallow men, it's all in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been so much better if it wasn't in the trailer. If it hadn't been in the trailer, it would have been so much more fun. And so, but what I saw from this trailer, like this, if they release another trailer, I probably won't watch another one, just because I don't want stuff spoiled for me. I want to stay away from pretty much all of it. But I liked what I saw, and Oscar Isaac he's such a good actor, and it surprises me a little bit that we got someone of such high caliber to play Moon Knight in a way, which blew my mind. But I'm also keeping my expectations low as well, just because if I go in thinking this is going to be awesome and I'm very disappointed, I'd rather stay low and go, okay, we'll see how we go. And then if it's good, I'll be happy. If it's not great, but it's still watchable, then I'll still be happy. So I'm sort of tempering my expectations a little bit.
Yeah. Have you watched the previous Disney Plus stuff? Like, have you seen Hawkeye, the latest one? Or?
We've watched one episode of Hawkeye. I watched all of WandaVision and Loki, which they were great. They were so much fun.
Awesome. Good.
But we only got about 3 into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so we've got to go back to that one and Hawkeye. But there's just so much good TV on at the moment. Like, it's really hard to keep up with everything.
There is. No, I mean, I only asked because I just wanted to get a gauge of, I guess, the level of confidence you have going into Moon Knight. I know you said trying to be kind of cautious and wary, but I mean, surely I enjoyed WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye. I loved Falcon and Winter Soldier. I did like it. It surprised me. It's funny that you mentioned that you have to go back to it because it was kind of my least favorite out of them. But I guess if you have that confidence with Disney Plus and Marvel with how they're doing the TV shows, it must instill a lot of confidence going into the Moon Knight TV show. I mean, and with the caliber of Oscar Isaac, I think one of the sticking points has been just the marked differences that they've made for Moon Knight. So again, you've seen. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything for you, am I? Like, because you've seen the trailer.
No, I've seen the trailer. Yeah, I watched it. Yep.
You've seen it. Okay. Yeah. So obviously the costume is one of the points, and I guess Stephen being British almost with his accent. What did you make of that British accent? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when he did first speak, I was like, oh, hang on a sec. As we know, he was American. But look, I'd have a bit of faith, and we've seen how many iterations of the personalities have we seen over the years now, and I'm glad they've gone with the cape and the cowl, not the Mr. Knight suit. Because I mean, as much as I like the Mr. Knight stuff, and we still might, but I'm a purist. I love the cape and cowl. I wanted the whole thing, and it's probably the first in all of the shows or all the movies and everything. It's the first, really, except maybe Doctor Strange, the first caped superhero we've had too. Because Marvel doesn't have a whole lot of them either.
No.
When you think about it, like you look at the Avengers, all of them are pretty much suits and that's it, no capes, real.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Thor had one, but I mean, out of all the characters, you'd have to give it to Thor, right? I mean, you can't really have one. No, that's right. That's true. Well, it goes back to my original, I guess, question towards you, Andrew. I mean, you're a purist. You love the costume. What do you think of the cape, the hood? But it is very different, right? I mean, was that enough to kind of irk you, or?
I'm keeping my expectations lower, but I'm also sort of like, I want to know why it's like that. Because, it looks weird for the Moon Knight fans like us. It does look strange. Like, it almost looks like an Iron Man suit when it comes on. And if they're leaning more into the Egyptian side of it with mummies and things like that, well, it does make a bit more sense that that's how it's going to be on his body. But, hopefully they'll have a really good explanation for it and we can go from there. But, as Moon Knight fans, we always have to keep an open mind with all the different iterations and different powers and stuff he's had over the years. So, we just got to do what we can.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It may seem I'm kind of like dangling the carrot in front of you as well, Andrew, but it's just interesting because we've got so many takes. We did a reaction episode when the trailer dropped. So we're fortunate enough, one of the loonies, Tommy, had access to a live stream of the NFL playoffs. And so we were watching some of that, waiting for the commercial to drop. But, we kind of debriefed after we saw it, and everyone had differing opinions. So it's just interesting to kind of get yours as well. There are a few, bear in mind, sorry, Andrew, being on Discord, a lot of really in-depth analyses, the trailer. So I don't want to spoil anything too much for you, but there have been a lot of speculation or spector-lation, as we like to call it. The snap, which seems to feature in all of the TV shows. I mean, that's going to have to feature in Moon Knight as well. It's interesting to try to figure out how Mark fits into, or Steven fits into the snap. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? Any considerations? There was a theory that was thrown around that Mark got what do you call it? He got ashed during the snap, and he came back as Steven. That's why he's kind of forgotten about Mark. But that's kind of been poo-pooed since then. But I don't know. Any thoughts on how maybe we can integrate that into Moon Knight?
Well, the other thought I had about it was that maybe when the snap happens, because he's got Mark and Steven and Jake in there, maybe just one of his personalities got ashed. Instead of it being his person, maybe just one of the personalities went instead. Which,
that's pretty good. I like that.
Who knows? They might work, but I'm curious to see what they do with it, because I'm wondering if we've seen in the trailer we've got Ethan Hawke and him looking like some kind of cult leader. Maybe this is going to take place during the years when people had been snapped away, and so we're going to get like a build up to when everyone comes back. Like he's leading a cult during the everyone being snapped away, ashed away into the wherever they went, and so this will be that Ethan Hawke is a cult leader during that time. Maybe it'll be that, or it'll be afterwards. Again, we just don't know. We've got to wait for it to come out.
No, for sure, absolutely. There's plenty of possibilities. The beauty of it as well, and again, this is not written in stone because we're all just speculating at the moment. Beauty of it, but also past Disney Plus stuff. When they release the trailers, it seems like most of it is from maybe just all episode 1 or episode 2. So they've actually kept a lot of content close to their chest, which I love because, contrary to what you're saying about Ghostbusters Afterlife, we do still get some surprises in in the Disney Plus MCU shows. I mean, WandaVision, Scarlet Witch's costume was never spoken of. And when it finally eventuates at the end, I remember just thinking, whoa, that's bloody awesome. I never thought that would happen. So we do get surprises like that, which I'm very, very grateful for. So I think probably down the track, as you're saying, Mr. Knight might turn up later on towards the end of the show. My theory is that most of it will be Stephen and Mark, and it being about Mark coming to the fore. And then I think towards the end we may get Jake, because he's more of the rough and ready kind of identity. Again, this is just all speculation, but it's just the sky's the limit so far, so it's really good. Now, do you know? I mean, again, I don't want to spoil it, but we do know the identity of Ethan Hawke. I can leave it for you if you don't. It has been revealed.
I'm curious. Yeah, who is he going to be? I didn't see who he'd been revealed as. Okay,
here we go. Here's a test, Andrew, to see how big a Moon Knight fan you are.
Jeez.
Ethan Hawke is. Ethan Hawke is, and some listeners will know. Drum roll. Arthur Harrow.
Arthur Harrow.
Yeah, come on.
The name does sound familiar. How deep are we going back here?
We're going back a little bit. Yeah.
And
you'll be
off the top of my head.
Don't worry. Don't be disheartened because no one really got it. We all, when the reaction episode, when we did the live stream, we all had to go Google it. He featured in one issue of Fist of Khonshu.
Oh, wow.
Issue 2. So if you have that, it's most it's probably shot up in price because of the Ethan Hawke's thing. But he's a one-issue villain. He's a doctor or a scientist or something like that, and he's got a disfigured face. But we figure he might be an amalgamation of Arthur Harrow and Sun King, potentially, because Sun King is cult leader. So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Anyway, sorry.
No, I was I'm kind of hoping for a as villains go, if we get a Morpheus or a stained glass Scarlet, I'll be happy. For me, those would be the two that I really want in the show.
Yeah, you and me both, and just any of the classic villains. Someone else as well posited the fact that in the trailer, Stephen has a sleeping disorder. So, Andrew, that could well mean something to do with Morpheus there. So,
Fingers crossed.
Sky's the limit. Fingers crossed, we'll have to see. The trailer obviously wasn't the only thing that dropped, Andrew. We just spoke briefly just before starting to record. The current Moon Knight series out by Marvel, Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio. I mean, again, it's been a long time between drinks. So how are you finding that? I know that you're about halfway through issue 3 at the moment.
Yeah, issue 3. Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far.
Nice.
I really like Jed MacKay's writing. I have loved his Black Cat run. That's been so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Disappointing that it had to end as well. So far, I'm only 3 issues in, so it's not. I haven't got heaps of the story, but I've got a bit of it going on, and it's, having the other Fist of Khonshu, and building his little world there. It's really interesting, and it's a good writer, not doing his own spin on Moon Knight, but not changing a lot too. Keeping it, as we say, but for the purists, for the old school fans like us, keeping it to the originals as best we can, and so we're not getting it being too far away from where we do like him. So that's what I like too, and using both the Mr. Knight and the cowl as well is it's been a good mix so far, not leaning on one or the other so much.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most impressed with Jed MacKay is he gets that balance right. He gets adding new material like Hunter's Moon and Reese, the Vampire, things that aren't necessarily associated with Moon Knight, but he injects that into the lore of it. But he also has massive respect for the source material, the history of the character. So we get constant references, which any longtime fan would just appreciate. I know I do. I mean, you just see it when there's a reference to the Houston run or the Ellis run, and it's like, yep, this guy knows what he's talking about. It is certainly a great thing. I won't delve too much into it then, Andrew, because we're up to issue 7. We just did a new episode discussion, so I don't want to spoil anything. But it's tracking well, I think. I know... what have we got? I'm getting that mixed up with someone else. But I know that we definitely have at least 2 trades worth of this series coming.
Beautiful.
Again. Fingers crossed we get more. We get about if we get into the 20s, I'll be very happy indeed.
Yeah, big time.
What do you think of the art as well? Because I know at first I didn't really like it at first, to be honest. It took me a while to get used to, but by issue 7 now, and actually by issue 3, where you've been, where you're up to, that coupled with Rochelle Rosenberg's colours, just amazing. I mean, I love it. I mean, how about yourself?
Yeah, it's an art style that, like, I think it wasn't what I expected in the first issue, but I think it grew on me, and I really did like it. I do like it now, and it's the it's the like scratchy style. It's got throwbacks to sort of a Sienkiewicz as well, in a way that, with certain issues that he did, or even his run on New Mutants as well that he did, where it's not his aping Neil Adams style. It's the more scratchy, lots of cross hatching style that he used. So I do really like it. I think it works well for Moon Knight as well, and that it's supposed to be darker, and there should be more shadow, and there should be, the lines shouldn't be as clear. It should be a bit more blurred, because it sort of works with, not only with the art and with him, the way he works as a vigilante, but also with his psychological makeup as well. The lines should be a bit more blurred.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a bit of a glow to him as well with the colours, which is really cool. It gives him, I mean, pardon the pun, a very spectral kind of look. So, yeah, I'm digging it as well. Do you... you showed me your Moon Knight shrine again just before we started as well, and I forgot. Apologies, I forgot. Do you have any commissions of artwork or anything like that? Are you a collector of any of the art? Yeah.
I've got several. I even got a page from one of the I think it's a Mark Spector Moon Knight issue, Salvaludo art. I have a page from an original page.
Oh, beautiful. Nice.
But I've got commissions by I've got a Mark Laming one who has worked on Star Wars books, and he did a lot of work for. He worked on Incredible Hulk and things like that. Yeah. Who else have I got? I've got a book that I went to a convention in Chicago in 2015, and it's got just a few local guys in there as well, and like Steve Bryant, who his Athena Voltaire series is really good. I've even got Art and Franco, Art Baltazar and Franco, who do a lot of the kids books, a lot of the DC sort of kids books.
Okay.
Right. He did a Moon Knight in my book in crayon. It's him like swinging across the city, he did it for free. Like, he was just sitting there, and they do like free drawings with a donation to a local charity or something. So it was sort of
cool.
He drew it with texture and then colored it in with crayon. So it's just this little, like, you're flicking through and there's just like funny little drawing in there, which is really cool. So I've got a few floating around. But I'm always looking to add more to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asking Alessandro Cappuccio, if he's going to be releasing it, because one of the things that impresses me, he's got some awesome splash pages on the current series. I wouldn't mind. I've never actually owned like a original art from like a comic book thing. So I've had Jason Burrows. I've had him commission something that was pretty cool. That was obviously during the Bemis run. But Cappuccio's art, I'd love to get in. Anyway, he said that he'll tweet it out when it's available, but nothing yet. So fingers.
Well, it's funny, the Steve Bryant one I got. It's because I spoke to him before I went to Chicago, and we sorted it out, and he said, I added a little extra person in there for you. I'm like, so I picked it up, opened up the book that it was in, and it's got Moon Knight like jumping towards the viewer, but in the foreground in shadow is Werewolf by Night. So like the back of
nice.
Jack, like they're about to fight. Yeah. So it's a really cool commission. I'll have to I'll send you a photo of it once we're done.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's such a nice little surprise when they do little things like that. I mean, Jason Burrows did that as well. Like, because it was a picture. It was kind of like around the time My son was born or just born, and so I wanted to get something like a really childhoody kind of picture. So anyway, it had some action figure toys in there, and I requested a few,
cool.
and then Jason Burrow said, "Oh look, I'll just add another one in there." So we put in Rocket Raccoon as well, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
And look, it doesn't stop there again, Loonies. As you know from our discussion last week as well, Andrew, and we not only have the trailer and the new comic book series. Have you heard? We do have a second Moon Knight series coming out as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? That's a different format, and some of the creators. Any initial impressions?
I'm very excited to get a Jonathan Hickman written Moon Knight. I think his series could be like that. Honestly, the story could be absolutely bonkers. It could be insanely good. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Hickman. I met at the same convention. I met him
Nice.
there and got him to what did he sign for me? Oh, I had a copy of the first trade hardcover of Manhattan Projects that he did through Image, which is a really interesting book, and he signed that for me, and he wrote a message, and I still to this day I'm not sure exactly what it says because he's got it's almost doctor's handwriting in there. So
yeah, I was about to say he probably should be a doctor then.
yeah, but I love his writing. I love the high concept. I love the and especially with the Egyptian deity stuff, that like it makes me excited to see what he will do with that sort of thing too. I'm hoping he just goes all out on it.
And I think coupled with someone like Chris Pacello on art, it should be a quite, as you say, quite a bonkers story. I love the format of it being like an anthology. I think it's a mini-series, Black, White, and Blood. I think it's a 4-issue mini-series. Rebecca mentioned Mark Guggenheim was another writer that's involved in it. I miss the days, Andrew, with Marvel Comics Presents and Marvel Fanfare. Marvel Tales. I used to get a lot of Marvel Tales stuff. So it'd be good to have. And the last kind of thing that we had with Moon Knight in an anthology book was that Benjamin Percy Marvel Comics Presents. A very short story about him going to the nursing home, which was pretty cool. I thought. So, it's going to be, again, something that we're just going to have to wait and see. I can't remember when it's out. I don't know if you do remember. It might be in April or something. It's a little while away.
Still a couple of months off, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely going to be on the pull list, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there aren't too many variants, because I am getting a little bit poor from the variants. Although, mind you, far out. I mean, a little shout out. Another Aussie loony. A little shout out to Paul. Paul in Melbourne. We both use the same. It's Australian. It's like an Australian Facebook group for selling and buying comics. And there's this dude on there, and he's got these like what do you call them, virgin covers, and these variant covers of Moon Knight #1 by Jed McKay. And they're going for heaps. But he's doing a starting bid at $5. And anyway, so it's like, why not? But I got there and I saw Paul, and Paul had bid for like nearly all of them. So I just messaged Paul. I go, Paul, out of respect, I'm not going to compete against you, but good luck. I hope you get them. And there was one. Yeah, there was one that he hadn't bid on, so I put a bid on that. So hopefully we all come out winners. But plenty exciting stuff for comics ahead. Not only that as well, Andrew. Again, you showed me your shrine. There's no doubt going to be Funkos, action figures. Oh, actually, there was the announcement of Hot Toys. Have you got any Hot Toys ones?
No, I don't think I have. No, I'm going to have to add to it. Yeah, they are. Yep.
I want to, but we're looking at, I think, Aussie dollars. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about a bag of sand and then some, right? $1,000?
Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah. It's gonna cost you a few pineapples, that one.
A bit of Aussie lingo there. Absolutely. But I don't know. The dream is to get it because Hot Toys just look amazing. but they are bloody expensive. I'm still working up my way to get. There's a Moonlight statue that was re-released. It's a gorgeous one. It's him on top of like a pylon with some gargoyles. That goes on for about 300 odd bucks.
Okay.
But, I'm
not too bad.
Scrounge around.
That's kind of reasonable for a statue these days.
Yeah. But we'll no doubt get a Marvel Legends, like they've done it for WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. They'll do it for and Loki. They'll do it for Moon Knight. Are you going to be buying the whole wave, Andrew, or are you going to pick and choose?
I'll buy as much as my wife allows me to. I'm hoping for like t-shirts and stuff like that as well. Like a bit more.
Yep.
I did have a Moon Knight t-shirt at one point, and then unfortunately it shrunk in the wash and did not fit me anymore. No. So yes, that one had to unfortunately go back to Khonshu. I just want a t-shirt more than anything, like just something like that to wear.
Well, you should pop into the group. Rebecca posted there's like a flood of t-shirts out now, and they're not like all official Marvel merch, but they're not illegal. But there's one with there's one with a just a front shot of the Moon Knight from the TV show, but it's done. It's not like a photo. It's more done like as an artwork. It looks really good. So there's a fair bit of Moon Knight stuff out there, and I'm not sure. I haven't checked out superhero stuff in a while. They usually do some good stuff. I was going to get some Moon Knight PJs from there, but things got away.
That's
with
an
me.
easy sell.
Again, like it is an easy sell, and socks as well. But like when other great comics or variants come available, that's where my bloody funds seem to go to. But I'll have to make some space for that. Have you got? Are you a collector of the trades and stuff? We're talking like omnibuses are coming in February, March, April. We've got Omnibus Volume 1 and Volume 2. We've got the Houston, Hurwitz, Benson Omnibus. So 3 Omnibuy are coming. Are you eyeing them off, Andrew, or like are you happy with your floppies?
Yeah, I've got them all in floppies, and I don't know if I can justify. As much as it'd be easier to kind of, I mean, it's, although those trades, the big omnibus are usually kind of hard to read too, depending how thick they are.
They are.
Like I've got the, I think it's the, which one is it? The Man Thing one is like, you could probably do some damage if you hit someone over the head with it, very much so. It's crazy,
I can imagine reading it. I can imagine reading it's like having Heidi on your lap.
Exactly right. Probably less to have her on the lap. But look, I've got a short box pretty much all with all my Moon Knight stuff in it. So it's kind of easy, just as easy to access that.
Yeah, it is a bit of a hard sell. I mean, similar to there's like complete collections coming out again, and Loonies, you may or may not know all this, but I wanted just doing a round out kind of what merch available. So a round out of what merch is available out there. So just throwing it at Andrew, seeing what his thoughts are. Yeah, a lot of complete collections coming out as well, Andrew. The complete Bemis collection, the complete Bendis collection, the complete Lemire collection. They're all coming out in soft covers. But again, I mean, is that I mean, it's a hard sell when you've got all the material already, walking out.
Yeah, it does. Some, and they're not cheap too. No. Like a lot of them come out for a fairly, a fair whack. And unfortunately, when you've already got them, it makes it harder to sort of go, oh, well, maybe I want that on my shelf as well. But like I said, I've got them all in floppy. But they're good for people who, especially with the TV show coming out, there will be people who will go, oh, I've never read much Moon Knight. Where should I start? And, people like us can tell them. And, I used to love the, I can't remember what the actual word were called. Like, was it the Marvel Essentials, the black and white newsprint? Books you used to be able to get. I used to really, they were great.
They're very light.
They were real, and gritty pages, and it felt like old newsprint comics, and they're all in black and white. They look like coloring books, but they had real good chunks of story. Like I have got the Moon Knight 1 and 2 on my shelf, and I've got I've got the first Power Man ones, the Iron Fists, Werewolf by Night. Like I've got them all there.
Nice,
because they were they were cheap too. They were like $20, and you could get there was sometimes 20 to 30 comics in them. So it was chronological. It wasn't just a series. Like if Moon Knight showed up in a Marvel team up with Spider-Man, that issue was put in the middle of where it was published rather than being put at the end, which some collections would have it as.
Yeah, I mean, I like those as well. I've got the Moon Knight ones as well. I've got the Submariner, I've got Ant-Man, I've got a few of them, Spider-Woman. And there's just something different about reading it in black and white. And in that kind of, I call it like newspaper stock. It's kind of very cheap paper, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just gives a bit of character to it. So, yeah, no, I totally agree. They were totally worth it. And I think more so with Moon Knight being predominantly black and white. I mean, he translates well in black and white comics. I think he does really well. So what else am I missing? We got the clothing, the apparel. We've got the toys. Are you a Funko person? No. Yeah.
I was. I haven't dived into it as much lately. But I've got a shelf in one of my rooms that's got a lot of them on there. But I sort of fell off a little bit too when it was sort of like everything was a Funko Pop. Like I was, when I first started, I thought, oh yeah, get some cool ones, and you get like a cool looking Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, and a Brandy Macho Man Savage, and I got a Beast one, I got a bunch of Marvel ones, and then all of a sudden it was like, and then there's this one, and then there's a variant of this one, and then there's another variant, and it was sort of like, it just became too unruly to keep track of, and there was just so many of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's true. It's a slippery slope once you start them. I try to limit. Apart from Daredevil, and I probably want to get a Hulk one, but I've only got the ones of the characters I do podcasts for. So it's just like I set my goal. Let's just get those, and of course got the Moon Knight ones. I will be getting more Moon Knight ones. I mean, if they do release, the Disney Plus Moon Knight TV show. Can you imagine we get like an actual villain Funko Pop from Moon Knight? I mean, would you ever have expected that, being a Moon Knight fan a few years ago? We might get an Arthur Harrow Funko Pop. I mean, what are the chances of getting an Arthur Harrow Funko Pop? That's crazy.
It is the whole thing about it, like having, when I first got into Moon Knight, and I think we talked a little bit about this back when I was on the last episode, but he was an obscure character when I first got into him. Like, not many people knew about him. And for it to get to a point where, like, I remember when the show was announced, because we were at Disneyland when it was announced. And it was, at the Disney Con or whatever it is that year. And my phone went nuts with all my friends going, oh my God, Moon Knight, Moon Knight, Moon Knight. And I was like, it kind of baffled me a little bit that we got a Moon Knight TV show so quickly in. Like, I thought, and not to talk down about the character, because I love the character, but I thought it would be one towards a lot, towards the end, or he'd show up in something first, and then we'd have a TV show maybe if his appearance took off. But it's just I'm wrapped, and like it's a good time to be a Moon Knight fan because there's going to be a lot of stuff out there for us all, and we'll be able to do the hipster. We knew him when he wasn't cool, sort of thing.
How cool will we be, huh? No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a purple patch for us Moon Knight fans. So it's something that you just gotta embrace and enjoy, and whether or not things may live or may not live up to your expectations. The fact is that we're getting a show. So the fact is that we're still getting series in the comic books, which is fair enough. I mean, he's been consistent throughout the years, throughout the decade, so that's good. But any new material is great material in my eyes. To an extent, I'm just going to put a little disclaimer. Not everything is just blindly great, but I guess the point is it's great to have new stuff all the time. We get refreshing new stories and new takes, and there's always the old stuff if you like the old stuff as well. Anyway, Andrew, I think that will probably just wrap our little idle chat to begin with. So thank you so much for coming on.
No problem at all.
You're ready? Next episode, Loonies, we have Andrew joining us again. We're going to be looking at one of your favourites, right?
My number one.
Well, number one. Okay, we'll probably leave that for the next episode then. But your number one. Which is it, Andrew?
It is Moonlight number 26 from the first series.
Yeah, that's a cracker. There's 2 stories in that as well. So Loonies, Andrew and I will be returning, and we'll get stuck into that. It's going to be a classic run review. So it's one of our Lunatics because it will be a waning crescent when that show drops. So until then, Andrew, I'll catch you for that one. Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Catch you later.
Moonlight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.